All right, hey, welcome back to Car Talks, where I rant, ramble, rave, and word about my thoughts on training, life, and fitness. Thinking about today, why I'm not doing as much on Twitter anymore. I still post occasional thoughts and stuff, but to be honest, I post it all through like a social media posting app just because I don't feel like getting on Twitter, and there's a good reason why. The more I watch Strength Coach Twitter, right, and like everybody's got like their own little like Twitter subsection. You have like Tech Twitter, Ed Twitter, business Twitter, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? But it's like Strength Coach Twitter has this really interesting proclivity to calling people out. And I think that's one of the things that I just got sick of. One, it's like, all right, like, what are you going to do? Just post videos of all your people doing stuff so you can either A, brag about what you're doing, or B, just have somebody rip you apart because they disagree on some minute little facet of your program that they don't really have a full context for. I don't really see that as a huge benefit. And I think that's one of the huge things. I think when we look at industries, when we look at professions, right, there's no need to really, like, we argue over semantics all the time, right? We argue over like certain things, and there's a conversation that I saw between some persons, like they talked in absolutes, right? But we can't talk in absolutes as a broad spectrum. It doesn't really matter what industry you're in, because there's certain things that are going to lack context. In a business sense, you can't talk about absolutes. In a business sense, you can't talk about absolutes because of different markets, right? Different local economies. So, different training regimes, different training protocols, different training modalities, right? Like, some people will sit there and talk about absolutes and how you have to do something, but they're lacking context. They're not seeing the same person in front of you. And I think a lot of that gets kind of derailed on social media because everybody's got their own opinion and they've got their own viewpoint, but they're not willing to either A, take into regard the context, or they're just not willing to be wrong, right? And even myself, like I don't like to be wrong either. So it's just a really interesting thing to think about, and it's kind of why I've leaned away from doing stuff on Twitter a bit more these days. So I don't know, it's just kind of on my mind this morning. Until next time, we'll see you in the passenger seat.